Jazz hands. Today I'm going to talk to you all about the books that I read while I was in Europe. Actually, it was a pretty productive reading month for me, considering that I was like not in this country and doing lots of amazing, exciting things while also reading some pretty rockin' books. So let's get this party started. Books I read in Europe. Here we go. I started my European adventure in Italia, which was beautiful and gorgeous, and I absolutely loved it. And initially I was going to read Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welsh very first, because it is about a girl from Seattle, that's where I'm from, who goes to Florence, and that's where I went. So I was gonna read that one first, and I was gonna be like so identifiable with the characters and like cry and stuff like that. But I had been wanting to read Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins for months before we left, and I was saving it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take it here, I'm gonna read it in French, it's gonna be perfect. And I literally couldn't wait any longer. Like on the plane I started reading it and I loved it. Oh my gosh, I loved every minute of it. It was so cheesy and dumb and like the classic young adult romance novel. She wants to not like the boy, but then the boy is beautiful, so she has to love him anyways. It was so cheesy, but I literally had the most fun time reading it. It had been so long since I read a contemporary like romance novel, and I had a blast. I think I rated it 4 stars on Goodreads. It was just super fun. I loved it. And then in Florence, so I finished Anna and the French Kiss while in Rome. And then in Florence, I actually did end up reading Love and Gelato, which was literally the most perfect serendipitous timing ever. Every time the character mentioned something that she had done or tasted or eaten in downtown Florence, I was like, we have to get it! It actually introduced me to my favorite flavor of gelato, which is stracciatella. It's basically chocolate chip, but better. Just has like huge shards of chocolate in the top. I miss gelato so much. Anyway, so then I read Love and Gelato, and oh my lord, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was one of those books where you think you know the twist, but then you don't actually know the twist, and it's like full sauce. And I'm actually I consider myself pretty good at guessing twists. I can usually pick up on them before they happen, but this one, it definitely got me by surprise. I think Love and Gelato was 4.5 out of 5 stars. Just, again, it was just another cheesy romance book, but I loved it. And I was like living it. I was living the book while I was reading it. It was the most surreal experience ever. It was amazing. It was off to France, where I was initially going to start Anna and the French Kiss, which did not happen. So instead, I started Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi. And you may remember from many, many months ago when I filmed a popular books I haven't read video. And that was top of the list because I had absolutely no interest in reading it. However, it was $1.99 on iBook, so I just bought it on a whim. I didn't even think I was gonna read it, and then I started it, and then I did not stop. Like, I finished it in about a day and a half. It was incredible. Like, every time we were on a bus, I was like, boom, Shatter Me, here we go. And it wasn't even like that good. You know, it's like when you read a book that you really liked when you were a kid, and you're like, okay, I understand that this is not a great book, but I'm having a really fun time with it. It's kind of that kind of experience. I think I rated it like 2.5 stars. Tahira's writing is beautiful for some people, but for me, it's a little bit too flowery, I guess? Like, oh my goodness. How many analogies do we need in every paragraph? Not 4. 4 is too many. Again, not a diss on her as a person. I love her very much. Follow her on Twitter, Instagram. She seems adorable. I would love to get dinner with her or something. But like, her writing's not fantastic for me personally, but I had such a fun time reading Shatter Me. I'm like dying to know what happens next because everyone loves Warner, and I just think he seems like a douchebag. Can I say douchebag now? Yeah. Yes. I just think he seems really douchey, so I don't really like enjoy his character at all. The last book I finished in Europe was Wink Poppy Midnight. I can't remember who wrote it. I'm gonna check really quick, 1 second. Wink Poppy Midnight is by April Genevieve Tacholke? I don't know how to say that. Tacholke? I rated Wink Poppy Midnight 2.5 stars. I'm not really sure what happened in this book, and I stand by that. If you asked me to summarize it, I would not be able to. I was very confused the entire time. It was very flowery. This was actually a flowery style that I enjoyed. In a contrast to Shatter Me's flowery, it was more like poetic. Purple prose, I believe, is what the internet calls it. None of the characters were like particularly likable, which was kind of unfortunate. I really thought Midnight was gonna end up with Poppy in the end, especially after he found out what Wink did, but he didn't. It was kind of a disappointment. I mean, Poppy was kind of a douche too, but you know, they were all kind of douches to each other. It was really an underwhelming book. I picked it up because I thought the cover was really, really pretty, and it is, but the book was kind of underwhelming. I say like a Canadian. Anyways, Wing Poppy Midnight, book number 4. Once we got to England, I got kind of sick. After Amsterdam, I was pretty ill. So I hit a little bit of a slump just because I wasn't feeling super well, and also I was just really loving being in London. It was my favorite city that we visited. I had the best time there, so I wasn't reading a lot, but I did start Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. I made it about a quarter of the way in, and I really, really liked it. You know, I was spending the whole time being like, that's not in the movie, that's not in the movie, that's not in the movie, because I've seen the movie like a million times. I absolutely love the film. I still have to finish it, but I have held off for an intentional reason. I've explained it before. It's because I don't want it to be over. As soon as I finish this book, I'm never gonna not read it for the first time again. Does that make sense? And that's sad. I don't want it to be over. Also, oh, this was really cool. I was inspired to read it because we visited Laycock Abbey, which is where they filmed a lot of the hallway scenes in Hogwarts. So we visited all those really amazing filming locations, and I was like crapping my pants. I was so excited. Okay, that's all the books I read in Europe. Hopefully I'll finish Deathly Hallows eventually. I'll report back as soon as I do. Have you all hanging on the edge of your seat wanting to know if I'm ever gonna finish the Harry Potter series. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a really huge thumbs up. I'll create more bookish content for you, as well as some non-bookish content. We're branching out a little, it's very exciting. Comment below what books you read in the months of October and September. I don't know why I did that in reverse. September and October. What did you read? What did you love? If you read any of the same books as me, regardless of the month you read them in, let me know, because I would really like to talk about Wing Poppy Midnight especially. I feel like not that many people have read it, and it really confused me, so if someone could explain that to me, that would be amazing. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see a little bit more of me, and I will see you in the next chapter. So until then, my name is Audrey, and I'm supposed to say I'll see you in the next chapter there, but I messed up. Bye!